In November 2024, a 102-year-old British luxury brand did something shocking. They deleted their entire social media history, fired their design boss, and released an ad campaign that didn't show a single car. The result? A 97% sales collapse, nearly 1 billion impressions, and the most controversial rebrand in automotive history. This is the story of how Jaguar spent millions trying to reinvent itself and ended up losing everything that made it iconic. Welcome to Boardroom Breakdown. To understand why Jaguar took such a drastic gamble, we need to talk about the elephant in the showroom. Jaguar has been bleeding money for decades. Not years. Decades. In their peak year of 2019, Jaguar sold just 31,000 vehicles in the United States. Sounds respectable, right? Wrong. That same year, BMW sold 324,000. Mercedes-Benz topped 357,000. Even Lexus moved nearly 300,000 units. For every single Jaguar sold, BMW sold 10 cars. But it gets worse. In the last financial year before the rebrand, parent company Jaguar Land Rover sold 58,000 Range Rovers, nearly 29,000 Defenders, and only 13,528 Jaguars. Total, worldwide. The company's former CEO admitted their lineup was generating close to zero profitability. Every strategy they tried failed. When they went retro with the S-Type and X-Type, critics said they were stuck in the past. When they went modern to compete with German luxury brands, they got crushed. So by 2024, Jaguar's leadership faced a brutal choice. Keep doing what wasn't working and slowly die. Or blow everything up and start over. On November 19, 2024, Jaguar unveiled what they called Copy Nothing, their bold new identity. And bold is putting it mildly. First, they fired everyone, deleted their entire social media archive, decades of heritage, gone overnight. Then they hired Accenture Song, a major advertising agency that had worked with Netflix, ESPN, and the United Nations. There was just one problem. They'd never worked with a car company before. The new visual identity replaced the iconic Growler logo, that aggressive leaping Jaguar that had defined the brand, with a minimalist circle containing a lowercase j and r. The classic Jaguar wordmark became Jaguar with random capital letters. And their signature leaping cat? Demoted to a door handle. But the real controversy came with their launch video. 30 seconds of colorful, high-fashion models in an elevator. Slogans like "Delete Ordinary" and "Live Vivid" flashed across the screen. There were paintbrushes. There was artistic posturing. There was a children's play zone aesthetic. What there wasn't? A single car. The strategy was clear. Jaguar was ditching their traditional customer base of older, wealthy men and targeting a younger, art-obsessed, ultra-wealthy audience. They'd stop making cars under $80,000 and start building electric vehicles priced at $120,000 to $150,000, positioning themselves not against BMW or Mercedes, but against Bentley and Rolls-Royce. Managing director Rodden Glover openly admitted they expected only 15% of current customers to come along for the ride. 90% of their future buyers, he said, would be completely new to the brand. The internet's response was immediate, and it was brutal. Within 48 hours, the rebrand video had racked up over 90 million views on X, formerly Twitter. But these weren't admiring views. Comments flooded in, calling it embarrassing, woke, and brand suicide. Even Elon Musk joined the pile-on, posting a simple 4-word question: "Do you sell cars?" Market research firm Karma tracked the damage. Before the rebrand, words associated with Jaguar online were automotive, power, and luxury. After the rebrand, woke, horrible, and awful. Sentiment scores collapsed from 23% positive to just 8% positive. Negative sentiment jumped from 21% to over 40%. The timing couldn't have been worse. The rebrand dropped just days after Donald Trump's election victory, at a moment when culture war rhetoric was at its peak. Marketing experts noted that the diverse, fashion-forward aesthetic might have worked in 2021, but by late 2024 it felt tone-deaf and outdated. But here's where it gets complicated. Jaguar's leadership insisted this was exactly what they wanted. Rod Glover said on a podcast, "We are fine with polarizing. What we shouldn't do is try and be loved by everybody. You'll end up with vanilla." The rebrand generated 1,300% increase in brand awareness and nearly 1 billion impressions. People who hadn't thought about Jaguar in years were suddenly talking about nothing else. Was this marketing genius? Or was it a disaster wrapped in spin? 2 weeks after the rebrand video, Jaguar finally showed a car. At Miami Art Week in December 2024, they unveiled the Type 00 concept, their vision for the electric future. The Type 00 was striking, no question. A bright pink, ultra-modern design that looked like it came from a sci-fi movie. Over 1,000 horsepower, completely electric, utterly impractical. It was everything the rebrand video promised: bold, divisive, and impossible to ignore. But the reception was just as polarized as the rebrand itself. On Reddit, one commenter called it a huge slab of impracticality and design by someone who has never seen a car before. Another described it as intended for buyers that have never driven one. The rebrand video got over 3 million views on YouTube. The actual car reveal in Miami? Just 269,000. Jaguar had gotten everyone's attention with the controversy, but they couldn't convert that attention into genuine interest. And here's the real problem. The Type 00 was just a concept. The actual production cars won't arrive until 2026 or 2027. That's nearly 3 years of Jaguar having no cars to sell while their dealers sit empty and their remaining customers drift to competitors. By April 2025, the results were in. And they were catastrophic. Jaguar sold just 49 cars in Europe that month. Not 49,000. 49 total. That's a 97.5% drop from nearly 2,000 cars the year before. Year-to-date sales across Europe fell by over 75%. Globally, Jaguar was selling fewer than 27,000 cars annually, an 85% collapse from their 2018 numbers. Now, to be fair, some of this was intentional. Jaguar had stopped production of their old models to retool factories for electric vehicles. They had no inventory to sell. But the deeper issue was that even when the rebrand generated 1 billion impressions and massive awareness, it wasn't generating desire. In May 2025, Jaguar quietly ditched Accenture Song, the agency behind the controversial campaign. Then in December 2025, they fired Jerry McGovern, the chief creative officer who led the entire rebrand strategy. The same man who designed the Type 00 concept was suddenly gone. Meanwhile, competitors were thriving. BMW's EV sales were up 32%. Audi's were up over 50%. Brands like Porsche and Volkswagen Scout showed how to rebrand heritage names for the electric age without destroying everything that made them special. Jaguar's insiders revealed that even their own design team had reservations about the rebrand. They felt the new logo was too rounded and playful, lacking the sophistication Jaguar was known for. But they were overruled by external consultants who didn't understand the brand's DNA. So what can businesses learn from Jaguar's $15 million mistake? 5 critical lessons emerge. Lesson 1. Heritage is equity, not baggage. Jaguar treated their 102-year legacy like something to escape from, when brands like Porsche prove you can honor the past while embracing the future. The Porsche Taycan is fully electric, but it's unmistakably a Porsche. Lesson 2. Know who your customer actually is. Jaguar aimed for young, art-obsessed, ultra-wealthy buyers. But that market is tiny, already loyal to other brands, and not desperately searching for a car that costs $150,000. Meanwhile, they alienated the customers they actually had. Lesson 3. Bold doesn't mean random. The rebrand felt disconnected because it was all aesthetic shock with no substance. Delete ordinary is meaningless when you're not showing products or explaining why anyone should care. Lesson 4. Timing matters. Launching a campaign focused on fashion, forward diversity days after a cultural shift toward conservative values showed a complete misunderstanding of the moment. Good strategy requires reading the room. And Lesson 5. You can't rebrand without products. Jaguar created massive awareness but had nothing to sell for 3 years. Awareness without availability is just noise. BMW and Mercedes launched EVs alongside their traditional lineup. Jaguar cleared the shelves and hoped people would wait. The ultimate irony? Jaguar's slogan was, "Copy nothing." But by abandoning everything that made them unique, they ended up with nothing distinctive to offer. As of December 2025, Jaguar sits in limbo. Their first production electric vehicle is promised for 2026, with serious deliveries not expected until 2027. That's 3 years of radio silence while the automotive world moves on. The company insists they're playing the long game, that the controversy generated awareness among their target demographic, that wealthy, younger buyers now see Jaguar as innovative and bold. They point to a 24% increase in search traffic from high-income earners and claim that younger people are now more willing to pay premium prices for the brand. But the cold, hard numbers tell a different story. Sales are down 97%. The ad agency is gone. The design chief is out. And production of any actual cars that customers can buy won't begin in earnest for another year or more. Jaguar's competitors aren't standing still. Every month that passes, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, and Porsche are winning over the exact customers Jaguar needs to survive. And those customers? They're not waiting around to see if Jaguar can deliver on vague promises of artistic exuberance. The real test will come in 2026 when those new electric Jaguars finally arrive. Will they be stunning enough to justify the chaos? Will anyone still remember the brand by then? Or will Jaguar become a cautionary tale about the dangers of reinvention without foundation? Jaguar's rebrand is a masterclass in how not to reinvent a brand. They confused controversy with engagement, mistook shock value for strategy, and forgot that heritage isn't a liability. It's the only reason anyone cared about Jaguar in the first place. In business, bold moves can pay off, but only when they're grounded in reality, timed correctly, and backed by products people actually want to buy. Jaguar had none of those things. And now they're paying the price. The question isn't whether Jaguar can recover. It's whether there's still a Jaguar worth recovering. Only time will tell. This has been Boardroom Breakdown. If you want more deep dives into the biggest business disasters and triumphs, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below. Do you think Jaguar can recover, or is this brand dead? Thanks for watching.